Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and good God, it is finally time for the Thargoids. I've been waiting for the Thargoid patch to arrive in Elite Dangerous for quite some time now. As you guys know, I've been a bit of a fanatic about it. I've been constantly doing as much research into it as I possibly could, taking my ship into the Pleiades Nebula and just like trying to gather alien artifacts and just like anything to do with Thargoid. So obviously I think that you all know how hyped up I was about patch 2.4 for Elite Dangerous. It is finally here. Last night I was live streaming it for quite some time, and today I figured I'd do a bit of a recap of what I experienced last night, as well as some of the things that have been going around through Reddit and whatnot, because I obviously, with something as big as Elite Dangerous, everybody's going to be experiencing different things. And that's what's so exciting about this particular moment in time in this specific video game, is that there's a lot of things that are new, and everyone's just like exploring the galaxy, trying to figure out all of the new things and what is going on. And it's just very, very exciting times if you happen to be a fan of this kind of stuff, like is the case for me. So what exactly has been happening? You guys are going to be watching some footage in the background. It's probably going to be Thargoid related. I don't know, because that's like the biggest thing for me. But what is happening right now is that there are literally, and I do mean literally, Thargoids pretty much everywhere in the Pleiades sector. So like if previously you couldn't get high predicted and you really wanted to get high predicted and you never got to actually see a Thargoid vessel in front of you, well, right now is the best time to actually witness a Thargoid directly all up in your face and scanning you and doing all of the nasty Thargoid things. Now is the best time to do that. All you have to do is head over to the Pleiades sector if you want a specific system where this type of stuff is happening. I'm going to give you the system where my current base of operations is, which is Age R1185. So if you go to Age R1185, the station there that I'm usually at is the Indra. And pretty much last night, as I was heading towards the Indra, I ran into at least 3 Thargoid events on the way there. Like, there's just like, they're popping all over the place. And what they are is they are the unidentified signal sources, also known as USS in the community. So basically, if you see an unidentified signal source, turn your ship towards it, scan it, and like I want to say that at a rate of like 90%, 90% of the unidentified signals that I ran into yesterday were, they're called non-human signal detected, threat level 5. And when you find one of those, that's a Thargoid event. Now, there are multiple events that can happen. Sometimes you will, I don't know if it's called low wake or whatever, but basically you will exit Super Cruise onto that spot. And what is going, it can happen one of a few things. So we will either see a bunch of crashed ships and no Thargoids, because sometimes you will not see the Thargoids there, but you will see a bunch of crashed ships and maybe some wreckage and some items that are just like spread out through that particular section. Or you will exit Super Cruise in that location. There will be a Thargoid ship there, and the Thargoid ship is going to come over and try to scan you. Now, like I said, these events are literally everywhere in the Pleiades sector. Like I'm telling you, I was flying around Pleiades last night, and pretty much every section that I would go to, regardless of what I was doing, I would encounter at least like 10 of these. So I can guarantee you right now, if you head over to the Pleiades sector, you will find one of these things. You can go to the system I just told you, or you can go anywhere in the Pleiades Nebula, and there's like 90% chances that you will see one of these things happen. Now, while we're talking about the Thargoids, I figured it'd be important to tell you guys what, because I've been studying their behavior a little bit. I've even engaged in combat. I will get into that a little bit further ahead. But like, what is happening? What are the Thargoids doing? And what they're doing is apparently they're either attacking or defending themselves. But I think they're actually attacking some of these ships. Previously, they would only attack Federation ships. Now they're also attacking Imperial ships. I don't think they're just attacking anyone at this point. And what is interesting, though, is what they seem to be looking for. And what they're looking for is escape pods. Like, you know how I used to make fun of that thing where I grabbed an occupied escape pod because it was basically just an item in the game. It's not like you could actually do anything with it other than just sell it at the market. So I would do crazy stuff with it, like I once tossed one into a black hole and whatnot. And I think I once tried putting one inside a Thargoid facility or something. Basically, I would do stupid shit with them because it'd be funny. But now, the Thargoids, they're actually collecting those occupied escape pods. They're also collecting damaged escape pods. And they're also collecting stuff like tactical data, scientific research, and a bunch of other things that you can find on these Thargoids events. You can actually see them using a tractor beam to kind of pull that stuff into their ship. So they're actually, to me, they're just like collecting data. They're on a reconnaissance mission, basically. I think they're trying to figure out how much we've evolved since they last interacted with us. And they're just trying to figure out how our technology is and all that stuff to basically, I don't know. I don't know exactly what their intentions are. Maybe they just want to be able to overpower us if needed be. Or maybe they're preparing for war. Who knows? The fact of the matter is you can actually avoid combat with the Thargoids in these encounters. Basically what I ended up doing was the first time that I ran into them, as soon as he started glowing red, because I had seen the promo video, and it's like, when he glows red, it's probably bad. So as soon as he glowed red, I tuck tail and run, because I got the clipper and I can outrun anything. That includes Thargoid vessels. I can outrun a Thargoid vessel. So I can pretty much get away from any engagement that I want with the Thargoids. But eventually, as I experimented more, it seemed to me that basically flashing my lights at them, because like they will get right up in your grill when you get into these encounters, and flashing my lights at them seemed to make them more passive, because basically it almost seemed like he stopped his scan a little bit early because I flashed my lights, and he just kind of went about his business. And if you keep your distance, he is not going to attack you. He will, however, continue to like collect and analyze the ships and the wreckage that I'm assuming he created. And then he moves away and he teleports back with his own hyperspace technology, which we can't follow yet. I tried following them, which is when they're about to leave, you can usually identify what they're doing as they're preparing to leave. And basically, I put myself right up in his tail and just like started boosting right alongside it as it was getting ready to jump into hyperspace. And what happens is the same thing as when you would reach the exclusion area of a black hole or a planet you can't land in, where your ship just kind of gets pushed back. And that's the same thing that happened, because I was basically trying to follow it into its portal, but obviously my frame shift wasn't on, and I couldn't like follow him through his Thargoid wake. But I did get pretty close. I got pretty close, but then the ship just like stops moving and gets bounced backwards. But yeah, try flashing your lights at them. Hopefully that's like the universal thing for, hey, I'm just an observer. I don't want to mess with whatever you're doing. And at least that seems to work for me. Whether or not that works for you, your mileage may vary. It might also vary depending on what you have in your cargo hold, which I think is probably also an important thing. So like if you have certain things in your cargo hold, maybe it expects you to give you some things. I've heard reports of commanders being able to give the Thargoids occupied escape pods, meta-alloys, unknown artifacts, which are now actually known as Thargoid sensors. So yes, you can give them things, and they'll also leave you alone, but I'm not exactly sure what things you can give them. Like I said, I've just heard reports of commanders being able to give them certain things. Now, the items specifically, like I said, they're grabbing occupied escape pods, tactical data, scientific research. Other items that I've seen there, but I'm not sure if they're collecting them, is also reactive armor and black boxes. Now, an important thing here is, you might think, so maybe if I don't have the optimal weaponry to kill a Thargoid, maybe I can still, you know, slowly whittle it down. Well, here's a report on that. I was just looking up Reddit, and apparently 21 commanders got together last night, and they weren't flying no pea shooters either. We're talking like vets, cutters, like 21 commanders. They got together with like ships specifically for the purpose of trying to take down one Thargoid, and one by one the Thargoid killed all of them. So no, don't try it. Just don't try it yet until we get the proper weaponry to take them down. You are most likely not going to be able to take down a Thargoid unless, I don't know, maybe eventually someone gets together 50 commanders and tries again. But 21 commanders definitely weren't able to do it. Therefore, you probably shouldn't attempt to do it solo. Regardless of that, because I tried doing this before I knew of the fact that 21 commanders tried to do it, I tried taking him out with my clipper. and didn't work out. I was able to outrun it, shoot it a bunch of times. His armor seems to be impervious to missiles because I've been running missiles ever since the promo video for this particular patch, because you can see that the weapons they're using against the Thargoids, the prototype weapons or whatever, they are missiles. Therefore, I wanted to get used to using missiles, and I've been rocking missiles pretty much ever since. And I was shooting missiles at it, and your missiles just kind of bounce off its armor, and it doesn't really do anything. They don't explode, nothing. Now, another thing that has happened, one commander with access to the Founder's homeworld, which for those of you who don't know, it's basically like a system with a specific space station that just has everything, like all of the mods you could possibly ever have at discounted prices, I believe. And this was only available for people who funded them on, I don't know, the initial funding project for Elite Dangerous, or people who reach Elite in every single thing. So Elite Trader, Elite, basically Elite everything. So if you're Elite everything, you have access to this homeworld. And in there were research, what's it called? Research limpets? Research limpet controller? I don't know. It's one of those limpet things. And there's another world that is being reported now that also has it, which is the Brestla? I don't really, yeah, it's Brestla, B-R-E-S-T-L-A. There's another space station there called Isola Prospect that is also selling those research limpets. However, they're much more expensive than on the home world, so keep that in mind. Either way, why are these limpets important? Well, because one commander, I don't remember his name, it was on Reddit, but it kind of flowed down now. But one commander was able to get a piece of the Thargoid ship using this particular research limpet. So you can actually fire these limpets onto the Thargoid ship, and the only trick then becomes surviving long enough to collect your limpet and then get the hell out of Dodge. Because the Thargoid is going to be hitting you hard until the limpet does its job. So you want to make sure that you stay there, your limpet stays there long enough to actually collect the thing. But basically you can collect a piece of the Thargoid ship, which I'm assuming is probably going to come into play into some community goal or something later down the line. Maybe it's for development of further alien weaponry. But yeah, that is a pretty important thing. The fact that you can actually get those research limpets to rip out pieces of the Thargoid ship. That's actually going to be something I personally am going to be trying to work on, because I still don't have it. I know those things are expensive, like $2 million a piece, but I got like $400 million that I've been saving up to put towards a cutter. So I got the credits for it, so I'm going to go get that research limpet thing. Anyways, alongside that, we are also receiving reports of new barnacle sites being discovered. That's also something that I personally haven't seen yet. I want to go and investigate these later today, which, speaking of which, I'm going to be live streaming all of this stuff on Twitch today. So if you guys want to know more about it, you are curious about all of these Thargoid things, show up on my Twitch stream today. Most likely I'm going to be playing a whole bunch of Elite Dangerous. But yeah, new barnacle sites have been discovered, and they're apparently much bigger than the previous barnacle sites where you have like one barnacle, two barnacles. This place looked like a fucking barnacle forest. It was insane. So that is looking good. That is something that I want to go check out, particularly because it's probably a better source of meta alloys, so that players can go and deliver more meta alloys to those space stations that are currently... Oh, I guess I haven't mentioned that. There's also a current like thing in Galnet that is talking about two space stations that are suffering from interference with unknown artifacts or Thargoid sensors. You guys know it's the usual UA bombing thing, but apparently this one seems to be a part of the narrative, because there's actually a Galnet news article from Aegis requesting support from independent pilots to go and take meta alloys back to those stations. Now, nothing special has happened to me while I was doing those things, because I did instantly go to one of the barnacle sites that I know of. I collected like 18 meta alloys because I didn't feel like waiting anymore. And then I went to each of these space stations. Actually, it was 16 meta alloys. I went to these two space stations, which is Irene's Dock in Tamit, and I forget the name of the other one. It's Thurio Orbital or Thurio Orbital, something like that, in another system. It's in Galnet. You guys can check that out. but I went there and I took like 8 meta alloys for each of them. The only thing working is the commodities market so that you can sell your meta alloys, and nothing really special happened. I'm assuming a lot more pilots will have to go and sell meta alloys there in order to unlock those 2 stations, and I'm assuming that is going to trigger the next part of the narrative. Now, also remember that at this point in time, there's still a community goal going on for an effort to develop stuff to fight against the Thargoids, which is that community goal that I showed in my previous video where I was very disappointed because I went and collected some alien technology and it took a long time and it didn't pay off as much as me just grabbing like tons of explosives and bringing them back, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But either way, more pilots need to go and contribute to that particular community goal. Otherwise, I don't think that the Thargoid weaponry is going to be as readily available as we would like. So that's also something that I might be working on later today. Now, beyond all of these things, right, all of these Thargoid-related events, what else has patch 2.4 brought? Well, of course, it brought the whole plotting bigger jumps thing. So you can now plot up to, I believe, 20,000 light years of trips. And more importantly than being able to plot up to 20,000 light years of trips, there is now a new feature in there which allows you to actually select whether or not you want to take neutron stars. So like the kind of stars that boost your frame shift and actually let you, jump a lot more than usual. As a matter of fact, just going back and forth like 300 light years or so inside the bubble, it already took me through 2 of those neutron stars in order to allow me to jump a little bit further to shorten my trip. So that is that addition alone is like one of the biggest things ever. Not only that, but it also tells you like how far you can go before you scoop fuel. Like there's a lot more interesting information in the galaxy map when you plot these long trips, but it's also going to make it easier, for people who aren't really looking to use external websites like the Neutron Router and stuff like that to do longer trips. It's going to make it easier for those people to do those long trips like the 5,000 light year trip to unlock Professor Palin, for instance. That's going to be a lot easier now. Now is the time to do that if you've been waiting on some improvements to the game to do those types of things. So that is really, really good. On top of that, we also have better mission boards because you guys know sometimes you get to a mission board, there's not as many missions as you would like for the faction that you're trying to level up and all this. Well, now we've seen reports of up to like certain factions giving up to like 40 plus missions from the same person, which that's impressive. That's pretty fucking impressive, the fact that you can get all those missions, because usually you can only stack up to like 20 missions. So like being able to pick and choose between all of these missions is actually a really good thing, because now you get to do the missions that you like while you are grinding the reputations with specific factions. So now is the time to also, get your naval rank up, I guess, because now it's probably easier. This also applies to passenger missions. There's also a lot more passenger missions, so if, like me, you enjoy the whole passenger mission aspect of things, you're now going to have a greater variety of those, including VIP missions if you want to, like, actually be someone who's dedicated to doing VIP missions of carrying VIPs from system to system. Last night in the Hindra, I think I saw like 5 or 6 of those in the same board, which is pretty friggin' impressive if you ask me. Like, you'd be lucky to catch like 2 or 3 of them. Now you're seeing 6 in the same board alongside all of the other missions that you would usually see on the board. So it's looking pretty good in terms of the mission boards and the passenger missions. Massive improvements there. And finally, the last thing that I have to report is that I've experienced a significant performance boost in my PlayStation 4 Pro. I don't know if this also applies to the regular PlayStation 4, but on my PS4 Pro, the game is running much, much better. It is instantly noticeable the second you do your first jump. It is instantly noticeable because as you were approaching the star, as you're getting out of hyperspace, you would usually see the star come in, right? Because you're approaching it, and you would see the star zoom in, and you would see that it would skip a couple of frames as the star was coming in. Now it was just like super smooth. Same thing was like, for instance, Alcazar's Hope with the Farragut battle cruiser that was there. It's just like a complete frame dip city. The second you would get the Alcazar's Hope, it's just like abandon all hope. It's basically 5 frames a second until you land because of that Farragut battle cruiser. And not only they improved that, now it's just like it was just like landing on any other planet. But also, I went up to the Farragut battle cruiser in there, because you guys know battle cruisers have been known to be glitched as hell with textures not showing up where they're supposed to be, therefore creating all kinds of invisible walls that you crash into as you approach these ships. But I approached the Farragut battle cruiser, I hovered around below it, all around it, no crashing whatsoever. The only time I actually touched it was when I intentionally touched the Farragut battle cruiser with my ship. So it seems like they fixed capital ships, which thank God for that. Jesus. But anyways, I'm pretty hyped to find out more. Now is the time. Like, seriously, if you're into Elite Dangerous, now is the time to play it, because there's so many more new things to discover. This is what I was talking about when I told you guys in that video a long time ago. The joy of exploration, the joy of discovery. Now is that time. And in a couple of months, most likely everything's going to be mapped out. We're going to know most of the things that there is to know about this current patch, but now it's really exciting times. Hopefully, you guys will join me. I will be streaming all this stuff on Twitch. There's the links in the description. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe so that you're always notified when there's new videos or live streams. And also, comments, feedback, comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.